All right.
Maybe.
Oh, we're good? Okay.
What do you need? You're on.
I think I'm there.
Okay.
It was just that it had a whole bunch of new settings I had to look for. I'm there.
I just gotta give it about a
And
minute.
was it anybody else? Did the way the packet come in, did it come in weird to you guys?
What is that coming up weird?
I mean, so it says the packet is available on the portal. I go to the portal and all that comes up is the agenda, and then you have to go in and individually download.
Oh, no,
Oh.
I'll show you. Wait till it's,
oh, no, I have that too, but you have to actually go down and go back and, yes,
oh, you mean in the email?
no.
Over here. It's
Yeah.
still loading, so hard, sorry. Sorry, it's still loading.
Hey, I would like to welcome everybody to the September 8th, 2025 City of Idaho Springs work session. And we have 4 things on the agenda. We're gonna kick it off with Sarah Walsh from CORE. And she's gonna be talking about our affordable senior housing. And Sarah, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
In fact, we just toured, we did a physical tour of the site.
Nice, yes.
Sarah, would you like me to share the?
That'd be great.
presentation?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think everybody's got it, but it's always helpful to have it up. Over to me?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. Well, hi, everybody. Nice to meet you guys. Met some of you already. My name's Sarah Walsh. I own a small consulting company that does we specialize in affordable housing in mountain communities. I live in Cherokee County in Salida. Spent about a decade on the Front Range before we relocated there a couple years ago. I've done all kinds of projects for all kinds of housing related things in the public sector. And we all started working together just a few weeks ago, really, to try to get this senior housing project, which is the mayor's amazing vision, off the ground. So the goal for tonight is just for me to say hello, introduce myself. I always love taking the chance to meet everybody in person. Virtual is great. That's how I get to live in Salida, but I always like to do some in-person stuff too. So super nice to meet you guys. We went out to the site and that was great. I'll just kind of give everybody an overview of what the project is about, why we're doing it, what we're trying to do, and kind of what the timeline's gonna look like. Like I said, we really just started, so there'll be many more things that we have to discuss with you all, I'm sure of it, but this is really to just give you a high level overview and get any thoughts, feedback, concerns at this stage. So the purpose of the project that I was contracted to help with was to define and advance a clear, actionable pathway to bringing an affordable senior housing project to life here in the city of Idaho Springs. The goal is to support stability and community connection by enabling older adults to remain in this community as they transition into affordable housing that accommodates their changing needs. As the mayor has shared, I think the number is 2,400 seniors in this community. And I had Dylan said earlier, which I think was very true. He said, I don't even think, let alone senior housing, I don't think we have any amount of housing to accommodate them appropriately. So the goal is to address those critical senior housing needs and develop a rental community for residents. Usually the number in the senior housing world is 62 plus. There's some flexibility there, but that's kind of the norm. And it's really designed for independence. We are still figuring out, as we'll talk about later, what level of healthcare and sort of assisted living support we want to provide. But the goal is to evaluate feasibility, look at different phasing options, which is what we were talking about today. Think about things like zoning, developing a phase 1, phase 2 plan, and make sure we have flexibility in the design. And then from there, it's to figure out what are the logistics of financing a project like this. Is it grant funded? Do we work with a private developer? Making introductions to those developers. Those are all the things that I'm going to help with. So I think most of you guys know this, but if the next, if you go to the next page, the site we're talking about is 839 103, Highway 103. The gentleman, Al, the owner, does live there. We just met him. He's a lovely man. So he's in the house now. And so the way we need to think about that is to make sure we are accommodating the agreement that we have with him and his needs, but also developing this in a way that isn't super drawn out, that we have a sense of urgency here. So we're kind of trying to thread the needle. This is a conceptual rendering. Actually, other folks in this room would probably have a lot more context on this. I believe the city sort of commissioned some studies of all city-owned land. Okay. Yes. So this is the conceptual rendering that group did on this parcel. Obviously, this concept covers the place where Al is living now. So this is not something that we would likely feasibly be able to do immediately. I think more likely we're looking at a phased plan that would involve developing some, if you're looking at the property, the left side first and then possibly the right side. I think I've heard from some folks that nobody's really married to this concept. This was more just a visual to try to advance this project. So there's probably gonna be more work to be done to look at what's possible on the site.
Sir, just one correction, it would be that building on the right side of that.
Or, excuse me,
which is
yeah.
South side, so
Yeah.
that would be likely developed. first.
Right side, yeah.
And
Um,
that's currently vacant land there,
yeah,
the building on the right, that's from that schematic.
yeah, thanks, Andy. So I say established parameters here, but I will say, I think everything is still up for discussion and we are still in the feasibility stage. However, these are the things that I think I've heard in my work with everybody here that are generally agreed upon. No, we're not looking at doing for sale, so this is gonna be a 100% rental project. We are looking at senior housing, so likely 62 plus. Some senior housing is 55 plus, but most senior housing is 62 plus. I put the average AMI of 60%. I think there's flexibility there, but generally to be eligible for grant money, you have to be under 80%. The average that I see with affordable housing development, specifically for older adults, is around 55 to 60%. AMI is the average.
Well, that is the defined average for the state, you meant
Right.
for housing at 60%.
Yeah.
So.
There are location-based variations across the state for different grants. But I think that's probably where we're targeting, is somewhere under 80% likely. We're looking to encourage independent living. We're really looking to encourage aging in place. We want it to be community oriented. We want some level of healthcare support, again, TBD what that is. And targeting, when all is said and done, roughly 50 units. I think that's the guide. I think that's pretty accurate of how many you reasonably want to fit in the space. When you're talking about seniors, you're talking about height restrictions and ADA accessibility, so you have some constraints there. Also, I don't think anybody wants a massive complex going on. Excuse me. So one of the key things that we have been talking about in our working group with Sky and Andy and Dylan and the mayor, myself, is really like, what level of support do we want to provide for these residents? And the reason why that's really important right now is because it's probably going to be the biggest factor in impacting cost. So on one end of the spectrum, you have what's basically just an affordable multifamily apartment that there's certain considerations for seniors, you know, little things like the common space or where the outlets are or different things, but they're relatively small. They're not going to impact costs. It's basically an affordable multifamily apartment. You can provide additional amenities via nonprofit partners. So we've talked about working with project support to support the residents there, but you're not really providing on-site support. That's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is like a full service assisted living facility that has memory care units or full nursing units and things like that. So wherever this development falls in that spectrum, that's really going to impact the cost to develop it. The ranges that I've seen right now are on the low end, really, and that's just like apartment basically, is about 275,000 per unit, up to $500,000 per unit for that more full service assisted living facility. So if you have 50 units, rough math, you know, on the low end, you're looking at 12 to 13 million, all the way up to 20 million for development. Again, this is, if we decide to phase it, that could change. That could be broken up into chunks, but that's just to kind of give you an idea of the scale for the whole thing. One thing that I thought would be really helpful is to look at what others have done. I always like to start there with a project, right? Let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's see if there's been other projects that have worked. I pulled a few from the Front Range and a few from more rural mountain communities. In Denver, there's two examples I pulled. One is I Love Apartments. This is brand new. This made a lot of headlines in Denver. They just broke ground on August 20th. Public-private partnership, a private developer came in. They're going to build 50 units, average about 55% AMI. They're all 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. They are kind of doing that partnership model where they have a part-time on-site coordinator that works for the Eaton Senior Communities, which is a nearby senior center. They got a bunch of grant funding from Prop 123, from CHAPA, from the Colorado Health Foundation. Super costly, about a little over $500,000 a unit. I will say that probably also factors in the land cost. It's in Denver, the land cost is probably high. The next example is a little bit of an older one. It was developed in 2018. If you guys have spent time around Sloan's Lake, you know, the old St. Anthony's Hospital was torn down. There's a massive redevelopment of that whole south side of Sloan's Lake. And this is an interesting one because they actually built a community health center as part of the senior housing development. So it's a large apartment building, 175 units. DHA owns and manages it. And they got some DURA, which is the Urban Renewal Authority funding, because of the old hospital, they were able to get a light study done, and so they got some additional funding, which I don't think would be relevant, but there's a community health center that was built by as part of the project, and it's run by Centura Health, which I learned today, also runs the community clinic here, so that's a possible interesting partnership. And then they also have a dialysis clinic in the facility as well. So they provide the healthcare services, but they're fully outsourced. So the Housing Authority is not owning and operating the healthcare portion of it. That would cost about $64 million back in 2018. For examples on the side of just kind of the full independent living, where we're really just talking about affordable apartments, there's a lot of these. This is the most common model. Certainly more rural areas, this is the most common. There's one in Evergreen called Green Ridge. That one's run by the Foothills Regional Housing Authority. There's one in North Glen, just outside of Denver. This one is run by was built with some government funds, public-private partnership, and it's run by a company called Mission Rock. And then there's another similar one in Gunnison that's managed by the Regional Housing Authority. So pretty common to see people dip their toes in the water with this more independent living model. Eagle County, which I think is the most interesting one for our purposes, owns and operates 3 different facilities, and they run the gamut of that spectrum that I just talked about. So they have 2 that are just kind of pure independent living, and they have a partnership with their senior support arm, the Eagle County Healthy Aging. They provide Meals on Wheels and transportation and stuff like that, and rides to doctor's appointments and all that. But other than that, there's nothing really special about the units themselves. But they also have Castle Peak, which is a senior life and rehab facility. So they have 22 skilled nursing private units. They have 20 assisted living units, 12 memory care private suites, and 10 transitional care suites. While Eagle County owns the facility, they've completely outsourced the management. So it is run, like if you go to their website, it is run by this company out of Minnesota that all they do is run senior living and assisted living facilities. I don't think Idaho Springs or really any other government wants to get in the business of managing assisted living facilities. So there are companies that specialize in that and that you can partner with. So those are the examples for our purposes. Obviously, there's lots more. We have Guy and I have talked about taking some site visits, particularly to the ones in Eagle County. If that's something anyone's interested in, we can set those up because I do find it's helpful to kind of see the difference and like, oh, this is what it means to have full service memory care versus this is what independent living means. Like we say those words, but unless maybe you've had a family member in it, it's hard to really visualize what that means from a facility and space perspective. And just quickly to wrap up before we just have discussion and questions, I wanted to share the overall project schedule. So like I said, we just kicked off. Today is the in-person site visit. We are establishing the project purpose, parameters, and goals. Again, I think the key decision right now is what level of amenities and healthcare support we're going to provide. And then from there, that's when we can really build a comprehensive budget. So once we have those decisions nailed down, obviously some of them will change as we go forward, but generally once we have those project parameters, we can build a fairly accurate budget range and understand how much it's going to cost. And then we'll look at grant opportunities, like how much of that do we think we could fund via grants? And what does that mean for a possible partnership with a private developer? So that's when we can start having, you know, towards the end of the year, exploratory meetings with developers. Another option is putting an RFP out for development concepts. That's a good way to just kind of cast a wide net and see who responds and see what concepts you get. I think that's something we consider towards the end of the year. And then based on what we see for grants, you know, making sure we're aligning to the grant timelines and starting to work on funding applications in January. I think the goal is to really hand the project off in the spring in a close to shovel ready capacity. So the goal is to be in that situation in April. Immediate next steps, as I mentioned, we're gonna try to do site visits to similar facilities. We wanna finalize the project parameters and then start building the pro forma on the project.
Very good. I'd like to go around. Questions for Sarah?
Mayor, I might just add, we did also talk about meeting with project support here locally.
That's right.
Oh, thank you.
Talk
Thank you, Andy.
about, maybe that'd be the next step before visit other facilities, just see
That's a great point. Yeah.
what they're, make sure they're aware of the project or answer their questions, and also see how to what extent they might want to be involved in this type of project.
Because some of you may already know, the kitchen, for meal deliveries, actually works out of the Queens, thrift building there, on the corner. Also, the VOA folks that provide transportation, are there. So they may have some capacity, to have amenities that our seniors would need. Regardless of, even if we just build a more bare bones, just affordable apartments for seniors. There will at least be some things that they currently provide and our seniors have enjoyed for many, many years. But also, I think Donna Klein might be a good source of information for who she's worked with, perhaps even locally, to get some of these things done, because they have operated on a shoestring, I would suggest. And they have not come to the city for
Anything.
us really to get into in any kind of a debt. So I would like to see how they've accomplished that, particularly with the newer building, the Mitchell White building, the yellow one over here. Because Andy has reminded me how time flies, but it's probably been like 12 years or 15 years, something like that. Sarah, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
So, and full disclosure, I am an approved vendor for our housing authority, and I personally get checks for some of my rentals. We share Grand County Housing Authority with Gilpin County and Clerk Creek. We all co-operate. And I am curious as to the 1 and 2 bedroom makeup of senior housing, because I will tell you, my experience has been, if you're a couple, they will approve you for a 1 bedroom. However, there are 2 that I can think of right now. I give an elderly gentleman a 2 bedroom, 1 bath for the price of a 1 bedroom, because that's all he was getting approved for.
Interesting.
Okay, so there's another, she's an older single mom that has an adult disabled child.
Yeah.
And so she was only approved for a 2 bedroom. But I just go ahead and give her a 3 bedroom, 2 bath for the reimbursement rate of a 2 bedroom 1, because I have that option.
Yeah.
And both of these examples just happen to be exceptional tenants. So they're rewarded for being exceptional. But I'm only illustrating that if you wanted to do an extra bedroom, at least who I'm working with, that's on you.
Yeah.
For the difference in cost. So I'm just curious, because so many of these are just trying to get seniors into affordable housing, and as such are just built as 1 bedrooms. And I noticed some of these other examples you gave have mixes.
They do.
And I'm not sure how that works. I hadn't seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is like, that's really up to us. Like, you can create whatever criteria you want, like application criteria or unit assignment criteria you want. I don't think there's restrictions around, you can't rent a 2 bedroom to a single person. I think we could create those restrictions if we wanted. Obviously, I know there's turnover in the multi-jurisdictional housing authority, but I actually think that's a really interesting role for them to play, is to administer those sorts of requirements.
Okay.
If you don't want, I hear you. I think the mixed unit, one of my pet peeves about affordable housing is that it's always smaller units and it doesn't accommodate families, and there's nowhere for people to grow into. So I think maybe it increases cost a little bit per unit, but I think it's marginal.
Yeah, and I honestly, I just hadn't seen that. I don't know how they
Yeah.
work that out.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, and I think that's at our discretion, is really like, as long as the economics work, right? As long as you're able to get the rental income to be where you need it to be to cover whatever you need, debt service or whatever it is.
Right, and I only ask because of course that will dictate how many
Yeah.
units are in a
Totally.
given building and.
And that's a trade-off, right? Like you
Yeah.
might say, I'd rather have more smaller units or fewer larger units. I think both scenarios are feasible.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a good question.
all right, other questions?
I have a number of questions. I don't wanna get in the weeds of a lot tonight, cause we don't have time probably, but like the operational of how that works, that would be a long discussion.
And I think this also is where Donna Klein could probably help.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they benefit our community, but that the city is in no way burdened. It,
But
it,
also, weren't we planning to move some of the, maybe not from a medical assistance standpoint, but the administration of this to our multi-jurisdictional housing authority?
Yeah.
I think that would probably be a natural
I don't know
eventually.
that we wanna be, the city wants to be in the position of being like an active landlord.
No,
Right,
no.
right, and that's why.
I think we own the property, right? That's about as far as we.
And Scott, I agree with you, and again, I point to our project support, I use the old saying about reinventing the wheel. It works really well. The city in no way has any kind of burden, either financially or from a management standpoint. Yet it has worked well in the community for many decades.
Does that work if we were to partner with them? Cause I could see them getting grant funding to even like hire another person to support this. But is that a partnership with the city or is that a partnership with the housing authority?
Well, wouldn't it be a partnership with Project Support and or Mitchell White? Aren't they
Yeah.
in a partnership together?
Yes.
So wouldn't that be the natural?
So on
Well,
our,
I know that there's not a tightness
They're
to it.
not together.
I think you gotta weigh your options.
I'm sorry, Jeremy, don't.
There's some crossover there, but that's a HUD.
I know it's HUD,
Yeah,
I know it's different, but
Am I wrong? Doesn't project support own both buildings?
Roundabout way.
Okay.
Once the HUD contract is over, things change a little bit,
Uh,
but
that will
alright.
change dramatically. I
until that HUD contract is completed, that's one of the HUD managed and controlled, so that's why it's a little wonky.
Okay.
Long term, yes,
Good to know.
but short term.
Good to know.
But I don't think that I don't think there shouldn't be some sort of partnership if they want, if they're willing, because as
Yeah, I
Sarah
just
said,
don't-
and I say it often, let's not reinvent the wheel when it's
I
already
don't want
existing.
you to give them too much of the biting off more than they can chew
Yeah.
either. in
Well,
that
that's
type of
their
scenario,
decision
because
to,
Yeah.
depending on how
It
many
would-
units this is, you're giving them a lot more responsibility too, so,
well, it
No,
could make
but-
their directorship more provocative to an outside,
yeah.
that somebody wanted to come in
It'd be a
and
bigger paid position.
it'd be a bigger paid position, which would
Yeah.
be better.
But
Without
whoever-
really
Whoever
drastically
the
increasing the
management is, I
housing.
think you wanna screen management and have a good
Oh,
idea of
absolutely.
who's getting.
Oh, yeah,
there.
yeah.
My questions surround, there's such a wide gamut, and I apologize because the terminology is kind of new to me, but independent living with support, that'd be kind of like what we have right now, right? With the projects.
Well, so you may get along fine, but maybe you need help dressing in the morning or bathing or light housekeeping, for
Yeah, this is
example.
a zero support
So there's a
facility,
zero
all
input,
independent living.
but there's a wide gamut here, and I don't know if there's a survey or something, or analysis of what we need for the community and how hard that is to
Yeah,
do.
well, because like Jeremy says, I mean, you can stay here as long as you're in good enough shape.
Yeah,
But as
But then
soon
how do
as
you
you
kick-
start needing help, you're.
how do you
out.
kick those people out? What's the process
Well,
of that too? That's
well,
kind of hard.
It's sad.
Were you-
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Were you at the meeting about the school building? Because I was at the table with a lot of folks on project support, and what they were saying was assisted living. So yes, you can live there, you can get around, but you need some help getting dressed. Like, I
Sure.
don't know, when I was looking at your.
And that's what I said we've always needed.
Yeah, I don't know that we need like a full-on memory care or transitional care, you know, that you were showing in some of those, but assisted living,
Yeah.
before people have to go into
yeah.
higher levels of care.
Full medical care.
I think that assisted living is definitely needed, just from listening to all those seniors,
And
because
if you get full medical care, you're talking about that.
that's a really
project,
costly
that's-
facility too.
And it has to be run very well, so.
No, I think for us, just from what I've heard, and I'm not an expert, assisted living
I agree.
is our next step that we do not have.
And you've heard me say, it is just criminal the way that our seniors are treated right now. And I use the analogy of you can live 90 years of your life here, as long as you're in good enough shape, you can stay. But as soon as you need help getting dressed or bathing, we can't necessarily even ship you off to a neighboring
You
community.
can't go to Evergreen.
Because like Evergreen often has a waiting list. So you may end up in literally Aurora, because that's where they had a bed for you.
Well, but they have a waiting list here. I mean, the waiting list here.
Oh,
is
it's,
an average of like
it's
3
double
years.
subscribed. Yeah, it's many, many,
Does
many
it give
years.
you short?
Just because people have not successfully got the end of it before things change.
Which is,
there-
which is also really terrible.
There must be a process how you determine that, because you ask any senior, tell them to move, they're not gonna be happy with, they're not gonna want.
I think this would be another great discussion with Donna, because she's literally been involved in this.
But
And I know
assisted-
that would be heartbreaking. So you're telling me I can live 92 years here and you're gonna have to ship me off to Arvada or
So you know
something?
that's already happening, I mean.
Yes, it
But if
is.
we could ship you off to 103 and you could still be here, but maybe
Oh,
not in your
but that's-
original house.
That'd be great.
The people that and by no means do I know that many people, but the few people that I know that have gone down the hill, it's not so much that it's that they, just need help dressing, it's that being at altitude is no longer viable.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
part of it.
And so, I mean, how I mean, that's just part of, I've known a few seniors that had to go down the hill just for breathing and things like that. So how in-depth do we wanna go into a care clinic when truly it's the altitude that is one of the most defining factors about whether they can stay
And,
here?
and that's what Sarah, I think, is pointing out is, we're gonna have to decide, how extensive, because
Cause that goes into the design process.
yeah, and the cost, and I had pointed out that I probably it's too early to slam the door on any of these, just because I believe there probably are people that have had success developing at different levels, because we see different levels.
Mhm.
So we'd have to see where there's some dough, frankly. But I know that, when you get, just full care, I mean, I'm seeing numbers like 11 grand a month kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very, very, very expensive.
Well, this may be a small thing, but I have constituents that live up there and they have been very, I've had a lot of concerns about the fact that we're gonna build 3 stories up there. And so one thing that I would like to have taken into account, and it may seem small, is that the landscaping between the buildings and the road, if we can do, some kind of berm or lots of trees, so that it still preserves more of a natural look around the facility, so that the neighbors don't feel like they're staring into an apartment building. I mean, like I said, I know it seems small, but they're really
No,
upset
no,
about it, so.
I totally understand, yeah.
All right, other questions for Sarah?
Andy's gonna ask this probably, but what's the next steps then? We have to come to some kind of agreement with what type, and then if there's a site visit for another thing, if people are interested, and
I mean, I think, Andy, you're right, like meeting with project support is definitely an important conversation. I also think they'll have the best visibility into your question, which is like, what is the demand, right? Like, we're kind of
Yes.
guessing right now, what do people need, what services people need, but we can also ask people, so we can do some of that sort of demand side research, hopefully in conjunction with the folks at project support, because they're probably the most tied into
Mhm.
that community and what they really need.
And they do have a wait list that's like double the number of units. The problem is, the wait list will only get so big because it becomes such a joke. When they only have 27
Right.
units and maybe 3 openings a year, what is the point of being the 35th person on the
you'll
list?
never make it in.
Of course not.
Yeah.
So, we do know that we have about 250 to 300 seniors in the county that actually live below the federal poverty line. And about 2,400, grand total, are of retirement age. And to only have about 1% of that available, whereas we have 27 affordable units is.
But maybe the project
Pretty
support
bad.
too, if we're going to do this, how to integrate, what do they need for the community members, those seniors, like.
Well,
what
Elisa, I think you hit the
services
nail
or
on the head.
Space do they still need that they cannot provide? How can we integrate that?
Exactly, and I think you are echoing my sentiment about us having some type of, assistance.
Yes, we've got to find grants. We've got $20 million.
Well, yeah, this is a big chunk, but other communities are currently doing this, so, you know, and it, you know, may take a few stabs, at this, frankly.
It's definitely possible, yes.
Anything further for Sarah?
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you guys. This was a pleasure.
All right, well,
I appreciate it.
I hope to see you soon and safe travels.
Chrome powder on top.
Sick. I appreciate it. What? Picking up other women. Sometimes you gotta compliment people's nails.
Well, next up,
Bye, Sarah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, you guys.
is Chief with the flock cameras, and I have to say, I don't use that term eye-opening very often. But to see 684 hits in less than 6 months was eye-opening and frankly, just very scary. That my thought here is those people have always been coming on and off I-70. It's just that now we're seeing it and we have the ability to catch them.
Since we have guests, can you just like highlight what the flock thing is?
You bet.
You want me to do that?
Thank you, Chief.
Sure. So currently the city of Idaho Springs has 2 flock LPR cameras, which are license plate reader cameras at exit 240. The 240 is the one that was just installed. And then one at exit 241, which is right by the police department on the far east end of town. And so we did this.
The current police department.
The current police department.
And
Large. So I was surprised too. I was surprised at the number of vehicles, but also surprised by the number of those hits. Some of what the data is showing us, so we're learning the system too over the last, 6 months, how this is working. So what happens oftentimes, like with the stolen plate issue, what we're finding when we're actually finding the vehicle is it'll be like someone will report their front license plate is stolen. And so when they do that, the system doesn't know. I mean, it's just reading the letters and numbers of the state. And basically, when it does that, it's saying that it's a hit, that it might be a front plate, but oftentimes it's the person who reported their front plate stolen. So not always, but so if an officer has time and is available and they go to follow up and maybe find the car at Safeway, they see that the front license plate is missing, and it's very likely the vehicle, and if it matches the description, it likely belongs on that vehicle, if that makes any sense. Some of these other things, for instance, the stolen cars, we are getting those hits, but sometimes our officers are on other calls for service, they're up there doing other things, and they check the area and they're not able to find the vehicle. They have, in some cases, found some of those. I know that we did have a felony arrest on a felony warrant. There was a pretty significant arrest off of the flock camera. Unfortunately, Scott, he was right by your business, parked there. But I think he'd already spent his money when he came out.
That's good.
But, so currently that system is just taking a snapshot of the license plate. And so that's an update of what the current system is. And we had talked about this, about that these aren't cameras that record. What I'm requesting or for council to consider is actually having the same retention. It'd be a 30-day retention. And these are cameras there would be a camera that actually points in the general direction of the current block camera. And so I provided the call for service data because I thought it was important to know that these areas are heavy visitor traffic. They're heavy visitor traffic. Jenny's Market, McDonald's, as we all know, and Starbucks is very heavy visitor. And we do get calls at those locations for disturbances, assaults, and other matters. And having the ability to have that video at what I think is a very fair $500 a year price is could be very valuable. I did put in a specific example of the stolen truck. It was a guy that has a business here locally. He was working over at the condominiums, doing lawn care, working on the condominiums. He had started his truck and forgot that he had needed to go turn something off. He goes back to turn something off. Next thing you know, he comes back and sees the rear of his truck driving away. He calls 911. We jumped out onto the highway to see if we could find it. There was rock scaling that day and they had done a closure and we were hoping to actually find this person stopped in the closure, but somehow they slipped right before the closure happened. But we did have a suspect. We just didn't have enough to actually take a case to the district attorney's office. So we really feel like having a camera to actually see the person that was driving would have likely helped support pursuing that case. So we don't really have a lot of data for the exit 240, but to also share, we do have a fair amount of calls for service, and I think it's going to continue to go up at the Maverick, especially less at the Shell, but the Maverick, and then also we just had a call right there at where the bus stop is. So some of the buses stop right there on 13th. We had it's in the blog, it's in our packet tonight. There was somebody that assaulted somebody with a stick or some sort of blunt object. I think it was outside of the bus, in front of the bus, and potentially the camera may have captured that kind of evidence. So with the bus stop and with the businesses there, obviously we all remember the big Shell station truck running into the building, pulling the ATM machine out of the building, that whole case. So that's why I'm bringing it before council. It seemed like a reasonable cost. And there you go. I mean, I'm open for questions. And like I said, it's a 30-day retention. These systems are not, as I was reminded politely by Carmen when she checked the packet, these systems are not connected to any federal systems. They're not connected to customs enforcement. So they're not used by the FBI, the DEA, or ATF, or customs enforcement, which I realize would be against the law in the state of Colorado if we were to do that. So
then we don't have to play political football with that. So that's great.
So I'm open for questions.
How much more work are we causing you?
How much more work?
Yeah, how much more time are these things creating your officers when there's such a big hit list like that?
It's not, it hasn't actually, it hasn't created necessarily more work. I mean, there's been some work that's happened. But I guess what I would say is when they're available and the hit comes through and they get that notification either on their laptop or on their phone, and they're available to go do that. I mean, I would look at it as, they could be saving the community or themselves even more work if this person were to be doing other things while in our community. And there's been other, like even today, there was a call today of a suspicious incident off of Virginia Canyon, but it was a deputies type call. It went out, they had a license plate. Somebody was watching a video of a property where they thought somebody had broken into, they had the license plate. So the officer on duty immediately just entered that license plate into the flock system, like they do it manually right away. So that they can see if it's either coming or going from the city. They've also done that with other things where there's some incident that may happen, especially it's been happening like in the West in Summit County, and there's some sort of an attempt to locate for an incident that's happened there, and that may not be entered into the overall flock system. The officers that are on duty can just immediately enter it right into the system, the plate. They've also done that for ready reports, which report drug driver immediately that come in that are in our area. If the officer's on duty, they'll just enter it in for like a 3-day or 2-day hit. And so they'll be notified if it comes into the city. So it's not just about everybody else that enters this information. It's also firsthand information that we can use to try to, ultimately it's to try to prevent crime and protect the citizens and residents of this area. So.
Well, looking into the future, I could see when those apartment complexes get fulfill the city's population growth, there's gonna be a need for increasing staff, and one of those staffs is police department.
We could have a 10% population in those apartments.
I mean, don't you need more police officers when you have more population? So just looking forward, I think that's something council probably needs to keep in mind, staff needs to keep in mind, but it's not just police department, it's probably gonna be other needs for the city,
Yes.
more administration.
So this is, you want this, I just wanna make sure I'm understanding. So this is like, you get a hit on the flock, just the license plate reader, and then you can go look at the live camera and say, okay, we saw the hit, they came in an exit 240, let's look around and see, you know, if they were doing anything.
And chief, with the second camera, so the license plate reader read it, but then you may have the driver coming at this other camera, correct?
Correct. Correct. I mean, to me, I think there's the potential for further investigative or evidence of situations that are happening. You know, like I said, sometimes whether we have a disturbance at the Maverick, or the bus stop, or at McDonald's in the parking lot, we're gonna have potentially video evidence that will go hand in hand with, it may not even be relevant to the flock camera itself, I mean, to the LPR. It could just be something that is gonna help us also see direction of travel and just have a better picture, overall picture. You know, I think that the city, as the city continues to grow, I think the things you're gonna have to consider as community leaders, you're gonna have a parking deck. Parking decks tend to be places where you can have some problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have that.
Yeah, and then not only that, I mean, it's common, and with the police station going in right here, I really think that the city is down the road gonna need to look at potentially having a couple of cameras along both the historic district and the back parking lot, outside of the parking deck. Just because we have so many things like, you know, people that spend counterfeit money. Those are really hard to solve, especially if you don't even have anything to really go on. But you can really start piecing some of that together with both the LPR cameras, the cameras that are on those, the actual video cameras, and then having cameras in the downtown area and whatnot. So I mean, I just, you know, I want people to feel safe. I want residents to feel safe. I want them to know that we're doing our best to try to prevent crime and, but also give us a tool when we need to investigate when crimes occur.
Well, 684 hits in less than 6 months.
It's a
And
lot of
that's
it.
just
That's
scary.
really one. I mean, obviously, Mayor, that's really one, because the other one just went in a couple, 2-3 weeks ago, if I remember.
Right, so I look at it as very proactive law enforcement.
It is.
I mean, you're alerting, you know, to 684 potentially bad people that have come in, that you don't want them. I mean, I looked at the number of like child sex offenders
Sure.
that were on. It's just amazing for a 6-month period.
Sure.
Incredible.
I mean, heaven forbid something happens. Certainly there's an investigative arm there. For example, and I'll give another example of something that happened. I don't have details, but basically what happened was there was a female who wanted to report a sexual assault. She wasn't willing or ready to be identified or to be interviewed, but under our laws, and I think rightfully so, she went to a hospital, they did the exam, and the hospital then uses a number that's assigned to her. We don't know who she is. And but we collect the evidence. So if and when she's ready to talk to us and maybe go forward, well, immediately one of the things that we wanted to do was archive all of the flock hits. And we did. We went ahead and took all of those flock hits. We created our case number, not hits, but we put every flock that happened over that few day period when we think this may have occurred. And we put that in as evidence so that, you know, we'll have every license plate, like it or not. So we have something that may help this case if and when this person were to, if they decide to come forward 6 months from now or a year from now, that's evidence that we'll have. So that's a very unique when you get those calls, you're saying, what can we do to be best prepared? So when they walk in the door, that we can actually have some success with the prosecution. So just another unique example of that.
So refreshing, the flock tank is taking pictures of license plates and the car, does it get the car and the license plate?
It depends. So sometimes it's just getting the license plate. Oftentimes it'll get kind of an image of the back of the vehicle, because that's really what it's focused on doing. The camera is gonna definitely capture both.
But it's also gonna capture activity.
It will, and number of people in the vehicle.
Yeah. Which video evidence in a court of law is pretty strong evidence, I would say.
It is.
It's undeniable what you're seeing, right?
Right.
When you go off people's words and they give testimony, it's like you have to weigh the fact. How much truth is there, so when you videotape something,
Sure.
it's there.
I think 2 years ago.
And so basically this is also follows the same retention as the LPR. It's 30 days. So unless there was, again, a unique case, we would capture those few days if we had to and archive that for the specific case. But you're not compiling this information,
No.
month after month after month. No, there's no reason to do that.
Yeah,
Isn't something like if you just wanted to watch the exit, like you would just log in and watch it live,
We
like
could.
at any point?
We could,
Okay, so it's not like connected to like, I don't know, like something happens and then you pull up the video, it's kind of just like always.
both. I mean, if something happened, you could pull up the video and you could also pull it up and watch and see the video.
Could you use that, what Denise was just mentioning, like in the case of an Amber Alert? You
Yes,
could be monitoring the video and saying, okay, we know this car is going westbound on I-70,
correct.
did they get off here?
Yes.
Is there any way to plug into the system, we're looking for this exact license plate?
Yes, that's how it does that.
Okay, yeah, all right.
I mean, I realize that, I think the big thing is to understand that, I did go in there and, after the 6-month period, and I can look and pull up every log of every time an officer has accessed that, or if they've put a plate into the system and what case number it's associated with or why they did that. So, I mean, it's important to know that, the system, obviously, there's a policy and there's not abuse, you can't just be,
Yes.
I couldn't just say, well, I don't like Janine, so I'm gonna put her license plate in there and see what she's doing. That type of a situation, I mean, that would be, you'd be terminated if you caught doing something like that.
I was shocked it was only 500 for a year. That's a
For the camera,
really,
right.
Yeah, I think
really
it's kind of
cheap.
a
Oh, I
no-brainer.
think the cost of the camera to me is kind of a
Yeah.
no-brainer. I just wanted to know more if I can use it.
Yeah,
You know my concerns that
sure.
I've had with Flock. I don't want this to be me. I don't think that is your policy or your
Sure,
thought. I
sure.
appreciate that Carmen reminded you that this is not anything that, is federally accessible.
Yeah,
I don't see a problem, I mean, believe it or not, I actually don't see a problem with it because it sounds like what you're going to use it for is, oh, we just had something happen at the Maverick. I didn't realize how much was happening at the Jenny's Market and McDonald's. That's a huge list.
Well, if you think, I mean, there's a lot, that place is always pretty much rocking with people. I mean, there's people there all
Well, this
the
also
time.
keeps them safer though, like, if you work there and that is a habitually, it's like an ant's nest all the time.
It is,
Well, I
it
mean,
is.
I did a class, I don't know if anybody here was in the class, but we did a class through the library at the community health center. And it was about trafficking on I-70 corridor, which happens quite a bit. I think the library is probably a destination for using the bathroom because, we're fairly innocent in our little world. But I would imagine that Jenny's place is a very easy way to get lost in the crowd. So I would feel much better if we had an eyeball on that area.
Yeah,
And I would go further, you mentioned our citizens wanna know that they're protected and safe to be here, but we have a lot of visitors in this town, and I think our visitors, I wanna make it safe for our visitors and our travelers in this town as well.
right.
I hate to say this, but I think a camera on the back lot is not a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we have things like, I think that doesn't happen a lot, but I mean, with all these mountain bikers, some of these bikes are like $10,000
Oh, yeah.
bicycles. So we have had I remember, last summer we had a couple of thefts in the back parking lot. I mean, most people they'll lock them, but sometimes if they don't do it properly, man, the bikes are just like, they just disappear.
They're a target.
They're a target. They're definitely a target. Frankly, there was, that kind of a situation going on with like even up in the ski areas, just where people would actually target snowboards and, skis and whatnot. And there's actually like a black market for this type of stuff because it's so easy to turn around and sell it on the internet.
More questions for Chief, Andy?
The Flock, license plate recognition, device, that's the rear image, am I correct?
It does. That's where it's primarily focused.
Okay,
But on occasion, Andy, it'll actually, because of the width of the lens,
okay.
it on occasion will catch a plate actually coming towards it and read that plate.
Okay. The video, will that be able to do both views? Coming at, do you see what I'm saying? Or will it just be the rear view, same view, or different views?
It's still the same general, but it's a wider view
Okay.
of that general area. And, so it's just one direction. It's not pointing like 360.
But most it'll be from the rear vehicle.
Correct, but you would be capturing the front of the vehicles that are going the opposite
Yeah,
direction.
the other way. Okay, so it's really both cameras, the one at the roundabout and the one at exit 240 are seeing vehicles both ways.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And with vehicles, a lot of times vehicles that are coming towards the LPR, we have a lot of people that just don't have front plates, period. Even though they're legally supposed to have front plates.
Or any plates.
Or any.
going on?
So then that's not, obviously that's not capturing that,
Yeah.
but if you had a video camera, it would actually, you'd have that video if you do the vehicle descriptions.
All right, any further questions for Chief on the Flock?
London has survived CCTV.
Okay.
As much as I don't
It's everywhere in the.
It's everywhere.
Well then, Chief, I'd like to move on to the second topic.
May I ask
Oh,
one
sorry,
thing?
go ahead.
So we had it was brought up about maybe having some additional cameras, maybe on the back parking lot, the downtown parking lot. Could that be connected in this type of system, or would it be a different system, or that's maybe some more research on what that might look like? If we were to expand more video, video observation in the city at key places.
Good question. So as part of council's approval with the new police station, we do have that technology going in at the police station. It's a different platform than this. And so and I was basically envisioning was using that system likely for a citywide system and just keeping this as a separate standalone on the road license plate system.
I would agree with that.
Because and the reason I'm saying this, and the reason I'm very excited about what we're doing over at the police station, I really feel like that would be what I would recommend that we do here at City Hall with the lobby, the front door. And then have that all be the same as what we're doing there. And then use that for the parking deck for cameras that we can see. I haven't talked with Cameron yet, but I really would like to see one of those put over at one or two put at the skate park. And that was the other reason I was excited about that company that we're using for the police station, is they actually have cameras that are completely solar and completely, you could put one like up at the mountain bike park if you wanted to.
Oh, nice.
And you
I
could-
have them, they work great.
Yeah, and so that's what I was envisioning more than having it part of this Flock system, which I feel like is more of a niche, let's get that that's for the roads and specific areas. The other thing
Forget about me, Nate.
the other thing that's really unique about this camera system, and I'm not trying to scare people, but I mean, here's what it can, I mean, you can put in, bicycle images, bicycles. And for the last 30 days, it'll just bring up every video that's showing a bicycle or a blue backpack. It'll bring all those, and it's very, like, kind of powerful in ways to, if you're investigating something and you have a description, putting that information in there to actually search it for you, so you don't have to sit there and watch hours and hours and hours of videos.
Yeah.
So that's what I was kind of trying to keep them separate.
A guy covered in mud.
Guy covered in mud.
Yeah.
But the system that you're planning at the police station is expandable.
It is
Either to
expandable.
other city buildings or maybe other areas of the city, yeah.
I think on the city buildings and like city properties, I would like to see it on our historical properties because particularly the ones that we don't have in open areas,
Sure,
they're vandalized.
Yeah.
sure,
And
I
if we
agree,
spend the money to fix them, I don't want them vandalized.
Exactly.
I agree.
Any more questions for Chief on this subject? All right, Chief, next up, we will talk about Colorado Boulevard stop signs.
Sure. So we talked about this before, and I have no dog in the fight. I'm bringing some information that I felt might be relevant. So we looked back in our records management system since 2014, which is when we started with E-Force. So about 11 years ago, and looked for traffic accidents, hit and runs, anything in that intersection within a block, any of those blocks.
Which is the block? Where are we?
So the 1800 block of Colorado Boulevard, the intersection of Colorado and Riverside.
Okay,
So it's right over here by the police station.
the one with the bad visibility.
The one with the bad visibility. And because I feel like data is important, versus just sort of thinking, well, this is what I know, but this is what I know as far as the data. So we've had 8 traffic accidents in the last 11 years in that intersection within a block of that. So we've had 8 accidents, and that's kind of where I'll leave that, which is, I mean, the last one that we had was in 2021. So the most recent one was 4 years ago. When you look at the day-to-day, as far as at that intersection, I mean, oftentimes you drive by and you don't necessarily see vehicles on the north side of Colorado or the south side of Colorado. I think that we have to be careful too. I was thinking about the hill when you're coming eastbound on Colorado Boulevard towards that intersection, keeping in mind that, about 100 yards back, there's a hill. So, I mean, if we create a four-way stop, are we going to have an unintended consequence of, if in bad weather, having more rear end crashes than a hill, because hills tend to kind of create that problem. I'm not saying that'll happen, I don't know.
Which hill are you talking about? You talking about the one that's,
Coming
I'm
down
talking
from
about right
the
over
new
here,
police station.
coming right by the police
I
station.
mean, wouldn't that apply to any street that
It
is, going on the west side of town? There's some very steep roads that end in a stop sign. I think one of the questions I had, and I know the people that brought up Riverside in particular are here, but my experience driving up and down Colorado these days is speeders are out of control.
Sure.
Like, and I don't care if it's a temporary solution, but I truly think that we have to start doing something about people doing 50 miles an hour through town. And I will gladly put my little Corolla in their way so I can drive the 22 miles an hour that I will bring it down to, but not everybody's doing that. So everybody's just, I think we need some sort of solution that stops them one more time, because obviously being stopped at 8th and again at 13th is not doing the trick, because then it's just a free-for-all throughout
13th
town.
up to 29th.
And I actually when I was out getting the signatures, I did walk that walk. And whether it's even just a flashing crossing zone, I think that would actually help immeasurably.
Sure.
Isn't there one there? There's a crossing.
There's not one there.
It's not crossing.
There is at Riverside and
Yeah.
Colorado.
But
Yeah.
it's,
But you have to push it.
okay, cause I didn't notice that when I was there.
The other argument that I think that we may end up hearing is the traffic volume that comes out of 23rd in Colorado.
Yeah,
So
don't even get me started.
So that's sort of the next consideration is, do we want to consider looking at taking our traffic data recorder? And I will confess, we lost the key to the dumb thing. So we had to order another key so that we can put it up and lock it. So, which we should have this week, so we can put it up there.
So we don't even have the data.
We don't have that data. And so do we want to do that? Do we want to
Yes.
get data on the west side of the city where it's Riverside in Colorado? And do we want to actually get some data at 23rd where people are approaching, especially from the north side, the neighborhood, which is basically the same neighborhood? Do we want to look at that? Because the question then is, do you put a four-way stop sign at 23rd in Colorado?
Let's say yes, based
I
on.
mean, as far as the amount of
numbers.
traffic that comes off of,
23rd, that's gonna be the access to the Argo.
There's gonna have to be some sort of.
it will be the access to
Something.
the
So
Argo.
eventually.
It is the access.
And the
to
amount
the
of, the
Argo.
amount of traffic that's
Have
gonna
to
come out of
happen.
there.
Well, you're gonna have people going in, you're gonna have them trying to turn onto Riverside. You're
Well-
gonna, yeah, it's, and just being a resident, there's four of us here, trying to get off 23rd going eastbound is.
Is a nightmare.
is a nightmare.
Exactly,
You guys
that's
probably-
my next
So I,
sort of thing to consider, because aren't they gonna build like 150 something or 120 some dollars, 120 parking deck over there eventually?
Yes.
As part of the Argo, so the amount of traffic that's gonna be coming out of there, I just, we could do that. It can get goofy, do we do that and do 23rd or consider 23rd
so I
or?
just wanna say, after our resident came in and talked about that, I made sure to drive around that particular, you know, the Riverside.
Yes.
It is, you are blind as a bat, like, it is really, it is bad,
Agreed.
there may not be a lot of traffic, but I think the fact that you haven't had accidents, more than 8 accidents, is
Because no one
just.
uses it.
Yeah, no one uses it, or, well, maybe nobody uses it, or it's
I'm
just
not lying, this, it's, I bet you, there's a
the
very
grace
few
of,
people
you
that
know,
cross
grace
there.
of God or something, you know, because I was like, holy crap, this is really, like, the visibility is terrible.
It is, it is.
And then we have that unfortunately on a lot of places on Colorado where because we have parking on Colorado, the visibility is terrible, and it's- we're just lucky that we have not had.
Well, I think
accidents.
Kate made a point too, there's a fair amount of people going over the speed limit, and I don't know if we write tickets 5 over, 10 over, whatever the policy is, but a flashing speed limit sign, I know it's not perfect science, but
it
it
does
does
Yeah.
mentally
They
make
work
people
on
slow
they
down
work
a
on
little
the
bit.
frontage road, I mean, we have them on the
It
frontage road.
works in Empire, every time I drive in,
Yeah,
I
and you
double
see
check.
that, you're gonna go look at your speed, and you're going, oh, I need to slow down a little bit.
And we actually did talk about this at a different meeting, and it's a little bit off topic, but we talked about in the winter months. Or, I mean, even actually probably just all the time, that on the weekends is what we talked about, is that Virginia Canyon Road is a westbound only. During the weekends and the high volume times, because that
Oh, you mean
also,
Virginia Avenue?
Virginia Avenue,
Yeah, Virginia Canyon is.
yeah, sorry, yeah, that one. So that people actually have to stay on Colorado Boulevard, that's where they're forced, and that would actually, I think, reduce people trying to get into the town. As well, because they're not filtering into all these little smaller veins.
Where I see speeding is when they first get off the highway, it seems like they just have a lot of momentum or something. And
Well, by your
by
place.
our place, and then
By your
they
place,
don't
but
slow
also,
down
you
until
know,
they get to
I
the
know
post
you-
office or
Mhm.
something.
I know you've
Pretty
gotten a lot
much.
of calls from our folks at the Elks, because I have a couple of people at the Elks that are like, are you kidding? Did you just blow by here at 55 miles an hour?
Sure.
So I know this is touchy, we have to try to improve things. However, these mapping apps, they're directing people off of I-70 and onto not even so much Colorado Boulevard, but particularly our residential streets are not built to a modern street standard. And they are enticing people to save 30 seconds cutting up Wall Street or something ridiculous, okay?
By
So
doing
that-
locals only, would that help?
That's,
No, but we have it on our street, it doesn't work.
Really? Cause that's
But-
so different.
but so
Locals-
here's where I'm gonna get real controversial. We paid like $42,000 for a traffic study. And this company helps out cities all over the state with the traffic studies. Because we sit here today and we know these problems, but I can assure you, there are so many other areas, like let's just take Lawson, Dumont. If you're pulling out the wrong way, you can't even get out of your driveway on the weekend, you're trapped. You know, there's lots of municipalities that have this same problem. And this agency that we paid like 42 Gs for the traffic study. Either we take it to heart and we pay attention to what they said, as these are things that work in 100 other cities, or we stop paying for traffic studies.
Mhm.
If we're gonna ignore it, just do what we want. So.
When was the last one done, Chuck?
Well, I think it was done, like around Colorado Boulevard, redoing,
That's-
Andy, do you know?
Not long after Colorado.
15 years ago?
No, not quite that long,
10 maybe?
8,
You don't think?
yeah. So, here's my question,
2018, I would say.
cause you were here,
Yeah, 2018 or 19, something like
And
that.
I wasn't here.
That's pretty
Before you-
eye-opening to know how much they cost.
oh, it was something like that,
Oh my God.
yeah, oh, it was, and let me tell you, it reminded me of a phone book. It even had the differences in your left turns versus your right turns. You know, the seconds.
But unfortunately, this is one of those times where I would, because I don't like redundancy with those studies, but now we have a completely different layout.
Yeah,
you
we're
know,
not, we're a different landscape than we were in
Okay.
2018.
more
This is
housing.
why I bring it up and I'm asking council.
Yeah.
Because we have an opportunity here. We're getting ready to go into budget time. If, and it's a reasonable amount of dough, if you think there's been enough changes in the city with mapping apps or the bike park or incoming gondola or what have you. If you want to budget in 2026 for another study. Chief was just mentioning, having some data off of Riverside Drive at 23rd. And then again, you know, at this very blind intersection. That would help. But I'm taking it up another level and asking, do we want to go down the road of, an updated traffic study?
Well, I would have a suggestion. You don't have 121 units filled up yet.
Wait
You
till
don't have
after.
the Argo operational yet.
True.
You could wait another
I
year.
mean, if we
and you
set it
could-
up for next year, we budget for next year, we could
you
start it
wait
next
till
summer.
After.
Okay.
I would actually prefer to start, if we were gonna do it, start it next summer, because summer is where it really starts to hit its peak, and then we always have like a peak in the
It is terrible.
January,
You're right.
like
right.
that December to March, so we tend to see our biggest nastiness in December to March, and then like
All right.
May to August.
Kevin, are you notice, I mean, because I didn't notice that there was a button for Riverside, so are you using the,
I have used that on many occasions. I
What's
can
your-
also tell you that sometimes people just blow right through it and ignore it.
Yep.
The one thing I don't think you guys talked about that Riverside is what I talked about when I first came in, is because of the angle and the offset. If two people are trying to make a left-hand turn, I've done this many times, you have to turn behind each other.
Yeah.
It's just
Weird.
awkward and weird. Just one of the main reasons I was thinking.
Do you think signage would help that, like, you know, left turns must turn behind other traffic?
I think
that
sounds pretty weird. Confuse the heck out of people.
Pardon me?
I think you confuse the heck out of people.
Well, the people that are turning left off of Riverside, coming from the north side, are generally people that live there. You get a lot,
That's
you
true. No,
get a lot of
I'm
traffic.
coming in
of-
my neighborhood, but the people coming off Colorado and going the other direction, they're going into downtown.
Yes.
They wanna go to the back parking lots, that kind of stuff. You know, you're talking about the Argo and all this stuff, rafting season. They use the bridge on 23rd as a parking lot.
yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Oh, we're there with you, my friend.
So I would just, say for, staff direction. We budget for an updated traffic study, ideally targeted for the summer of 2027. Since these big changes that we're talking about will not have happened, until after the summer of 2026. So 2027 makes sense. And in the meantime, Chief will have his key, we can collect some data, not just at these two intersections, but
Yes.
there may be some
Can you
others.
move it, you can move it around so that we
Oh,
can look at
absolutely.
our pain points.
Sure,
I would,
sure.
And we could share this with the traffic study folks.
I would
Yeah.
like to, over the next year, since we have over a year before our traffic study that we're talking about, for us to hit our pain points. Like
Sure.
make a schedule, and this is when we're gonna put these up so that we look at it.
Can we still get one of those blinking lights that this is your speed limit?
I'd be all for two of them.
Yes, we've talked about that, John, with the staff,
Budgeting.
that we were gonna try to plan for that in the budget for this coming budget year. This is your speed and this is the speed, it flashes.
But
at you
ideally, we have one for eastbound traffic, one for westbound traffic, and
on kind of the west end of the city and then somewhere east to mid-east.
There's one more factor out there too, that's gonna change traffic is when they complete the highway.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They're not gonna have the highway probably completed by 27, but you can't wait forever either.
Well, a lot of this are people using, our city is a I-70 bypass.
Yeah.
You know, if it was just as fast to stay on a completed I-70, we may not have as much cut through.
Yeah, some of these pain
Well, how
points.
much
Is that ever
time
really
does
gonna
it
be a
save,
thing?
though?
Well, I asked that
Some of the
question
pain
now.
points may
How are they
ease.
even saving a minute?
Yeah.
Then everybody has to wait to merge back on up
There's
there.
there's a humongous discussion on 285. They have a whole page about
Oh,
people speeding and whether or not it saves any time, and you
I
know,
think Chief
you drive
told me
that all
on
the
that.
time.
Oh.
Yeah, I watch it constantly because I'm on 285 a lot.
Right.
They're, basically, I'm gonna say, it, they're full of crap all over the place, and that speeders are the ones that are gonna, they're safer drivers, they get there faster, it's just, it's like going out and driving with a bunch of drunk people when you're over on 285. I mean, everybody should just do a shot, get in the car and drive, then you're all in the
Yeah,
same
no
lane.
more
like,
relaxed.
it's
Yeah.
Not relaxing at all.
It works
Like
for me.
Eleanor.
Would you just
It
based on
is,
what
it's
you've heard
crazy,
from
it's
us
like weird.
and, you know, what you've heard from citizens and from the data that you have, can we make a list of where we're going to move the camera around to, also based on, like, the summer is busier, you know, what does Virginia look like? I like Kate's idea of in the winter or in the summer months, like Virginia, on weekends, Virginia is a westbound only. I mean,
Right.
yes, the residents are gonna be like, what are you doing? But that's where a lot of our backup happens, is eastbound on Virginia.
It does also give us an avenue for emergency vehicles, if we have to get to somebody on Virginia, we have that bypass, we own it, you're never gonna have anybody doing it this way, you're always gonna have it coming this way. I just think it's a great way to, and I don't know, Jeremy might wanna chime in, and Chief, you might wanna chime in, but it would be that one,
That's not a good look.
that one,
Street through most of town, but that's just my opinion.
what's that?
I want Wall Street and One Street to be one way.
I know,
think
dude,
having bidirectional
when you
traffic
find me a new
streets
truck that I can get up the hill,
aren't
then we're
designed
good to
for it,
go.
that's a problem.
All right, so, anything further? Yes,
If I may, and also remember that, one of the conditions of the Argo project being approved is a traffic
Yes.
study after 1 year of operation, and they're expected to be operational with the gondola April 1st.
right,
So,
and that involves the possibility of an additional lane.
they're at that, 23rd
Right.
and Colorado interchange.
Yes.
To see exactly what is the impact, is
Yeah,
that,
another lane at their expense.
yes,
Yeah.
so that,
We'll see how that.
just to be
We have to
considered,
hold
you
them
know,
to
in the
that.
whole
Yeah.
mix here, because that is, you know, one of the sections that we're
That's a
talking
good
about,
point.
Colorado Boulevard.
And actually, maybe all the more reason to wait till the summer of 27.
Yeah, buying two of them.
But in the meantime, keep in mind, we are gonna put forward in the budget. We talked about this, the speed signs.
Yep.
We also, I know Ed was gonna look at, we're expanding the crosswalk issue,
Yep.
with the flashers. I realize sometimes people ignore that if they don't pay attention, but, which is better than before. And by the way, I mean, our officers stop people that don't do that.
I know that you guys do, but there's not 300 of
I
you
know.
at every point, and I tell people that all
I
the time.
appreciate that.
The guys are not everywhere, they're not,
No,
you
I
know,
appreciate
right.
that.
like,
But before, we also may see if they have anything they wanted to add to us, add to this discussion, because Kevin and Kathy are the ones that brought
yeah,
this
they brought it to us.
Of course. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing, particularly, even bringing this to our attention. It is a horrible intersection.
Yeah, it's just where it is, you know, but it's just awkward enough that it's tough to turn, it's tough to.
That
I'm-
bridge, you can't see
Yeah,
very well.
Riverside
Yeah.
especially in
I'm
the
basically
car.
4 houses up the hill from you.
Yeah.
So I don't mind confessing to you, whenever I have the option, I will not use that intersection. I actually make a point, no matter how I'm getting to the neighborhood, I will go to 23rd and Colorado Boulevard because that one
Yeah.
is too dicey. I gotta tell you, I really don't have a problem making a right-hand turn, but I got a big problem with that intersection making a left-hand.
Yeah, well, that's definitely worse, but even the right-hand turn, just because of the way the bridge is, and it's a
You can't
beautiful bridge.
see.
don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
No, I sneak out there pretty far.
Way out.
Yeah.
And then I've been trying to leave my street and I come up and all of a sudden a car is coming off of Colorado and it just goes, takes my lane and goes into the Gold Rush parking lot. So
Right.
they don't really turn, they just
Merge.
merge.
I wonder if that's an interesting idea. What if you make that not an entrance into the Gold Rush apartment? Because they have two. You've the entrance right here, kind of in front of the apartments, which could be accessed from directly off of Riverside without having it easily, accessed off Colorado. And
Oh,
you
I know,
still
I
have
can see
the,
what you're saying.
you still have the drive-through, so they would actually have to make a true right and then a left into
Like
the
a right
parking
onto
lot.
Riverside and then a left,
Yeah,
and there's
rather than them
still,
being able to bypass and just drive right into the parking lot. I'm not a parking study person, so I
The
haven't.
right-hand turn on Riverside is tough,
Yeah,
because it's an angle like this,
No.
you have to swing out in the
Yeah,
other lane.
It's terrible.
You know,
So
another
that's-
thing too, I didn't like the idea, but you could slow the speed limit down too.
I'm all for that.
you know what, it's,
Drive through town.
Here's what I do. I drive around in my little car and if
Slow
someone's
down through town.
racing by me, I put my horn on until they're so startled that they slow down to 5 miles an hour. I'm doing it all the time. So one day the cops are gonna pull me over and I don't care.
you
I
are a
don't care.
cranky old bastard.
I'm not.
All right, is there,
65 miles an hour.
is there anything else before we move on to the final subject?
Mayor, I know there
I
was
don't care.
a suggestion about maybe no left turn there coming.
Oh, right turn only.
Right turn only or something like that. Do we want to consider something like that as an interchange, coming from Riverside, I guess it
And
becomes.
I was just waiting till we have the data, but not a bad discussion to have. Chief, any?
Yeah, I mean, based on what you guys are saying, it sounds like that's an easier, safer turn to make, but I think the bigger question is, what do the residents want, what do they feel comfortable with?
Right.
Cause I really don't, I mean, they're the ones that live there, I don't live there, I mean,
Would it
their
be
impact.
as easy as just walking around with a piece of paper and putting on their door and saying, hey, call us, let us know what you, I mean, what is it? I think it's like 30 houses, all,
Yeah,
not even.
It's not many houses, I know my neighbor right across the street, Karen, she works over here at the HH Hotel. And so I'm quite sure she goes down the end street, because the cars park that direction. It makes that left-hand turn on the Colorado, so she's gonna work,
Right.
so
Well-
I'll tell you, she's gonna say.
If you did something like that, you could easily change it back after a traffic study, or you can, it's an experiment, see how it's working.
I'm all about that, Scott. I think that's a great idea. Just like, let's test it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We move on to something else. We just keep trying.
You have to buy a sign, you have to buy a sign is all.
Yeah.
Do we need to let the residents know and?
Yeah, I think.
It's
Let's
good.
chat
You
with
could.
them.
Well,
Well,
let them know what we're doing.
well, yeah,
And why.
I mean, ultimately.
And
if-
why is important.
Yeah, we're just trying to improve the safety and I think we may have some more information that will be forthcoming with Chief's numbers
Yeah,
at the
totally.
two intersections, so that's good to know. All right, anything further before we move on to the final subject? All right, Chief, thank you very much, I
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin and Catherine.
Thank you guys for coming
Yes,
out.
thank you very much for coming in, appreciate it.
See you Saturday.
Appreciate it. All right, last up is Public Works reorganization. Would that imply?
Mine should be easy.
Okay, now, would that imply that you were organized?
Ooh.
Just teasing.
That I'm disorganized.
Just teasing.
It would imply that I'm disorganized.
You have to
Okay.
reorganize.
All right.
We're gonna.
No, Ed, you're doing a fine job. But let's talk about this reorganization.
Well, I kind of want to get things back to where it was when John was director. So you'd be getting a ORC of water wastewater,
Yes.
and then a,
Again,
And
like a
remind council what ORC.
operator responsible charge. So that's the guy that operates and is responsible and in charge of the guys over the water wastewater.
And that is a state requirement, not, it's a good practice, but also it's a state
That's
requirement.
what the state would call it.
If we didn't have our own ORC, we would have to contract that out, and that has happened. in the
and we
past.
have done
It
that.
has happened
Yeah,
in the
we have
past.
done that.
The trouble has always been with when we're contracting it out, is that the contractor does not operate anything.
Right,
that isn't in charge of daily
Maintenance.
Duties.
Duties, whatever, yeah.
or maintenance, or really had taken responsibility of anything that ever went on, at either of the plants. So that was the tough thing. Pretty much what they wanted to do was fill out the paperwork, and then just we would do it, and we would operate it however we saw fit. All right, a bunch of, unlicensed guys, over there operating it. And that was the biggest problem with hiring out an ORC, is because they didn't really do any of those things. The person that actually fills out the forms, as I've been reading and learning stuff about on our wastewater side, is actually the cognizant official. That's the guy that fills the forms out. So when we contracted out an ORC, we were actually contracting out a cognizant official, not an ORC. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
So when John was here, I was ORC of water wastewater and did a bunch of the distribution and collection stuff also. And then while John was here, Paul was supervisor of public works. So they did the parks, streets, and he also was ORC distribution and collection. I'm proposing that water and wastewater stuff stays with water and wastewater. So distribution and collection is part of water and wastewater. It has way more to do with water and wastewater than it does with streets.
Yeah.
Or it does with parks, or it does with building maintenance. So I'm proposing bringing distribution and collection under water wastewater, where I think it belongs. And then have a operations and maintenance supervisor to over parks, streets, and building maintenance is a big thing that we've been, and it's not really an official, it's like a sub-department. So in order to structure it that way, so that everybody is where they're supposed to be.
You mean staying in their lane, like if you're in.
Or
streets.
maybe not necessarily in their lane. We can cross over lanes. We're not that big of a city to where we can say, well, you're just here to clean the bar screen. You stay at the bar screen and you scrape the bar screen all day long, we have to wind up doing some collection stuff and some distribution stuff and some water stuff and some
Okay.
wastewater stuff. And then the guys that are doing collection and distribution, they have to get operators licenses as well. And they'll have a better grasp on what they're studying in the distribution and collections books when they actually get to be in the water and wastewater treatment plant too, because it's all related.
And how much do you think this is gonna be in increasing in salaries?
I think there might be a little bit for, I don't think we're too far off. So maybe,
It's too far off.
10,000 a year.
Okay, cause
Or
we
maybe
don't have
15.
Paul's position any longer and you kind of combine those two.
Right.
Okay.
And, I am pleased to say, we're fortunate, we have qualified people. I'm just thinking Billy's one example.
Right, I mean, that's been kind of a rare thing since I've been around with the city, is actually having qualified people and licensed people that can do the.
Well, so you actually have people that are already licensed through like the ORC.
Yes, I'm already licensed.
Well, I know you are, but. I think you have
And
other people that are
Billy's
part-
licensed as well.
Okay.
And if all of these guys are working together, then they can all help each other move up in licensing
That's awesome.
and work together, because all of them basically ask some of the same questions. Some wastewater questions are on the collection test. Some water questions are on the wastewater test. you know, so it's all combined.
So you won't have to, will you have to hire like lower level positions then, or does it? do
It
you
would
need to hire
make
anyone?
sense eventually to get, because we would have distribution, collection, water, wastewater. It would make sense to get one guy under each one. So we would just have 4. So we'd be short 1 for water, wastewater. And then 1 in public works or in, you know, the operations and maintenance side of things, parks, streets, and building maintenance. And actually have building maintenance as a sub-department also. And then a bunch of the things in the budget can be building maintenance budget items, just like parks and streets. Because we were picking out building maintenance things strewn through the whole budget.
That's really been something that Parks has done for a number of years, is building maintenance, kind of as an additional duty, but it's really a big job.
It
because
is.
We've got
Bunch
lots of buildings to maintain, so,
Right, and more parks.
yes.
So there's gonna be 4 Points Park, the skate park. There's more trash cans, more Greenway Trail.
We're gonna be getting a new city park here, next year from the 4 Points project.
Right, that's the 4 Points Park.
Eventually the pump house, the powerhouse park.
Right, and, you know, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it looks to me like all of those parks could need a little bit more work than what they've been, a little bit more attention than what they've been getting. I'm not particularly impressed. I know that it's better than it was, but, I just think there could be more done there than what's been getting at.
So you need at least one more person with the certification. Will you need people to like,
The person with the
Entry level for
certificate
the-
wouldn't necessarily need to be certified. They could be an entry level person that just wants to learn water, wastewater, things. And then 1 in the public works side. So we'd have two parks guys, 2 streets guys, 2 building maintenance. And then a operations and maintenance supervisor.
are 2 parks guys enough?
Well, so they're not always doing building maintenance
Okay.
either, you know, I'm just kind of splitting that up to make
And
the
and on
math
the,
easy.
and on the water and sewer side, do you have, like, I know you guys are on call, is that part of the new structuring that you're gonna go to I know we were talking about 4-day weeks and things like that, are you guys gonna remain 5 days?
Yeah,
You have to.
yes, because the water doesn't care what day it is. It doesn't care if it's Christmas
Right,
or.
so how do you work the on-call positions?
For water wastewater, there's 2 dedicated guys that do half day, Saturday, Sunday. And then they'll do on-call stuff if there's something to call out on those days
So those guys are always basically the on-call people.
for the weekend.
Okay.
And then the emergency call out pretty much it just goes down the list of Justin, Matt, Billy, me, or whichever order it is.
So does the order change?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So wastewater's Matt. Water's Justin at the top of the list, and usually they'll wind up getting,
I just don't want those positions to get burned out because that is kind of a burnout position when you're on call. And you're the only one that ever goes out on those calls.
yeah.
Or do you find
Yes.
that some of those guys are desired to be on call because of the extra money?
Is there extra money?
Yeah.
If you go on a
Emergency
call,
call out,
Yeah.
but there's only extra money if you go on the call.
right, so yeah, well, right
So that-
now, if you
Wouldn't fly for
can
me at
cure
all.
if you can cure the problem remotely,
Sure,
it's 2 hours of emergency call out time, minimum. And then if you have to go out there, it's 4. The current way that,
right? I know there's money, I'm just saying that being on call means being on hold.
So,
Yeah,
I might add
but
that-
there are people that like it.
Not everybody does.
No, I know.
I'm
Not
trying to
everybody
say this in the nicest way possible.
So this will be a different discussion, it's a good point, because we technically do not have an on-call
Right.
policy
And
in our personnel handbook, which is being updated, it's being reviewed by Carmen right now, that's gonna be coming back to council, but this is something that we have talked about. Is you've got, public works, which includes water, sewer, streets, parks and buildings. You've got, they are, it's a 24/7 operation.
It is.
So and we have folks who are assigned on the weekends to come in as Ed mentioned, water, sewer, doing the checks, that has to be done every day, but same thing with public works. And what does make and we do have a policy, thanks to council, we formalize the policy for emergency call out, both virtual and coming in, which I know staff really appreciated because, okay, if I'm being called in, what is the minimum I should be compensated? So that's covered as well, but we really don't have an on-call policy. And if we do want an on-call policy, what does that look like? I think we need to take a closer look at, recognizing that, police, public works, which includes water and sewer and streets and parks, that they're 7 days a week operation.
Yeah.
So I think we do need to look at how, and we're talking about an alternative work schedule. I think we need to look at how it best works for those organizations. The police has pretty well established. The officers have a 4/10s schedule. And that's been established for a long time. I do think we need to revisit. I've talked with Ed about this. What our regular schedules look like for public works.
Thanks,
And
Andy.
how that's integrated with on
I
call.
think it's important, I
So-
honestly, for
So
quality
that,
of life.
there's more to come on that.
All right,
I wanna
thanks.
let you know. But I know we're just about out of time, but Ed and I, of course, have talked about this a lot. And I know I'm concerned about capacity. Now, we've gone from 2 superintendents, one for water, wastewater, one for public works, and gone back to one person over the both operations. And what Ed is proposing is that he'll have 2 key people under him, one over water, wastewater, which will include collections and distribution, which was typically under public works in the past, public works superintendent. And then there'll be a supervisor over streets, parks and buildings. So those will be his 2 key people. He's going to be working on updating job descriptions for those 2 people, and he believes he has those people in-house that he can move into those positions. But that'll mean updating job descriptions, and this is the way he'd like to be structured going forward.
Right.
that'll leave me available to do budgeting and keeping track of the money and planning for the future and checking to make sure that we're headed in the right direction. Well, like Willie and Billy will be doing the day-to-day operation.
And I think, as we mentioned here before, we recently hired 2 additional public works maintenance workers.
We did, you've already seen them out there working because both those guys are workers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great.
Good.
I see them out every time I drive through town. And I've actually been seeing the other guys out a lot more too.
Good.
Which has been pretty cool.
All right. Any questions for Ed about this?
No more hiding in the parking lot somewhere.
You said it, not us.
Right, you guys are also members of the town and have driven around town also too. And I'm like, hey, what's that truck doing over there?
Smoke
Just
billowing out
sitting
the
there.
windows.
All right, any
I didn't
further
say that.
questions for Ed? Hey, Ed, thank you very much. I do have something else. It's a bonus item. I'd like to recognize a couple people. Steve is here, representing the Business and Community Promotion Board. And, Dan, I want to say thank you, and confess, I can't remember what your last name was. Smith. So, Dan,
That's good.
Dan actually owns the property that Oh My God mural is on. So it was with, we're up there, and very thankful, that he's willing to be a partner in saving this. You know, I would suggest to you, it was probably at a point where it was gonna be lost to history. And folks 20 years from now would just say, hey, whatever happened to that mural, you know? And all it would have taken was for Dan to have said, you know, I really don't want the liability, I don't want to get involved, and there are a lot of people that are even civic minded that would have said no, and he said yes. So it went back up, it's better than ever. I understand it's got like 5 coats of some UV protectant on there, so it'll look good for a long time. And we cannot thank you enough for your generosity. And Keith Preston, hey, I want to say a big thank you on behalf of the city to both of you. You kind of, talking about swapping horses midstream, you kind of came into this as another artist had already been working on it, correct?
Yes.
And you were able to complete the restoration, and it looks terrific.
Oh, thank you. It took a long time.
But you guys did a great job.
The point was, I wanted to make sure that it was gonna last another 30 years.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know, and so like everything that was done on it, was like the best paint that I can find for like morning sunlight and especially Colorado elements. You know,
Yes.
and dealing with that. And then also little additions that get added on it every once in a while.
Oh, we know what you're talking about.
Right, these 3 changes.
So not the first time it's happened to me, but you know, so it's just making sure that everything was done perfect. And like for me, like the painting is sort of like when Wendell originally painted this painting, it was like a time capsule of Virginia Canyon. And if you actually look at it and you go from left to right, you're going forward in time. So we added a little bit extra, we added the gondola and everybody that helped with it. So the hope is in 30 years, somebody will come along and paint where Idaho Springs has gotten to in the future.
Awesome.
So it's been a pleasure to work on it.
And thank you for saving it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just right.
It was about
It was-
95%
yeah.
deteriorated. I
Right.
mean, we've got pictures of it. Luckily, the paint stained the wood enough that we can make the outlines of where everything was.
And Steve, you've been a big part of this, including going back up. Thank you very, very much. You know, this is what happens in a small town. You hear, you know, that old adage about one person can make a difference. I'm telling you, there's never been a better example in our city. That was saved for future generations, and it was just on the ragged edge of being lost to history. I want to take a minute and say, on behalf of the city, thank you so very much. All right, one other thing about community, business promotion board I want to share with you. We heard it was the overwhelming desire of, the businesses downtown that we retain the fireworks. That it's been part of our tradition for more than 100 years. A lot of people like the ability to come up and see a real fireworks show. And I just wanted to, we did not have that feedback, until just about 10 days ago. So Sadie's not here. Steve is here on her behalf. She is in Morocco. And she's gonna ask the age-old question. I know we've all asked, is it red wine or white with camel? So, well, yeah.
It's after September 1st.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that. But anyway, so she'll be back in another weekish, something like that.
Sort of tea goes with
Yeah.
one hump or two.
All right, it's 7:08. Everybody please take 5.
Oh my God, no, I see my coworker was, do you go? And I was like, there's no way. But yeah, just give a little,
So that's why they're so lucky. My kids are the ones that introduced me to them. They've never showed me that. I have not been.
you've been over and
properly-
oh, okay, yeah.
I'm gonna try to do that. I don't think they ended up doing
Stay where you are.
Dylan, no rush, but are we good to go?
Right.
All right, hi.
Right.
Everybody, please come on in and take your seats.
Unofficially, that's.
Did you do the birth insurance? No. Birth insurance is good. Now I'm just, we're gonna come.
I would like to welcome everybody to the September 8th, 2025 regular council work or council session for the city of Idaho Springs. We'll call it to order at 7:12. And I'd like to start off with roll call, please.
Scott Pennell.
Here.
Lisa Manifold. Here. Jim Clark.
Here.
Kate Collier.
Yeah.
Janine Mariani. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Jeremy Jones.
Here.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Here, all please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We have an agenda before us tonight. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda for Monday, September 2025.
Thank you, Janine. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Lisa. And any discussion of the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Does anyone tonight feel they have a conflict of interest? Hearing none, I will move along to the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from August 25th, 2025.
Thank you, Jeremy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, I think from Janine.
I was like, who
It
too?
was close, very close. And, any, discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have bills before us tonight. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the bills from September 1st, 2025 through September 15th of 2025.
Thank you, Jeremy. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Scott. And any discussion of the bills? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Janine Mariani.
Yes.
Kate Collier.
Yes.
Scott Pennell.
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Lisa Manifold.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeremy Jones. Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes, and it's time for public comment. I don't think we have had anyone signed up on our sheet over there, but Dylan, I would just ask if we would have anyone online.
We do not.
Okay, then that will conclude public comment. We do not have any first readings tonight. We will move on to ordinance second readings, starting with number 15. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve ordinance number 15, series 2025, an ordinance accepting and recognizing a portion of Wall Street as a legal public street.
Thank you, Lisa. And do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Jeremy. And any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Lisa Manifold.
Yes.
Kate Collier.
Yes.
Janine Mariani. Jim Clark.
Yes.
Scott Pennell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeremy Jones.
Yes.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes. Next up, we have tonight our city attorney, and we're gonna have a discussion about the opioid settlements. And Carmen, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You know, it seems as if we've had a flurry of these over the last few months. In your packet is a cover memo from me. As that memo lays out, it's been a few years since the city joined in a statewide effort to settle lawsuits related to the opioid epidemic and its consequences here in Colorado. It was just 3 meetings ago at your last July meeting that you approved the most recent settlement before these with Purdue. As you can see in the cover memo from me, we now have 8 additional proposed settlements flowing through the Colorado State AG's office. So you will see at the very bottom of that cover memo from me, a suggested motion if council wishes to approve the city's participation in these latest 8 settlement agreements.
Yes, and for council, this is on page 46 of your packet. I'm sorry, make that 47 or 45 of your packet. The suggested motion is at the bottom of that page. And do I have a motion?
I move to approve the opioid settlement, participation and release forms concerning settlement with Alvogen, Amneal, X, Door, Myla, Island, Sun, and Zydus, and authorize the mayor and clerk to execute this.
Janine, thank you. That was quite brave of you. And do I have a second? Second. I'm sorry, a second from Kate. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Scott Pennell.
Yes.
Lisa Manifold.
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Kate Collier.
Yes.
Janine Mariani. Mayor Pro Tem Jeremy Jones.
Yes.
Chuck Harmon.
Yes. Carmen, thank you very much. did you have anything further to share with us tonight?
No, thank you, Mayor. That's it. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian.
Next up, we have a city administrator, no request for action. Andy, glad you had a good camping trip and, I wanted to check in. Did you have anything further to share with us tonight?
The one item I'd like to highlight is, we had talked about the tentative schedule for, reviewing, the proposed 2026 budget.
Yes.
And one of the dates we had talked about just having a special work session to talk about the budget and to hear from the departments about the requests was Monday, September 29th.
Okay.
But I've been informed, and I've noticed that there's another event going on that night. Monday Night Football for the Broncos.
What's that?
And that, we might consider changing it to Tuesday.
I noticed the qualifier might.
Tuesday, September 30th. So, if that's agreeable with council, we normally meet on Monday, but occasionally on Tuesday, but I thought we might. just-
So we don't need to make an official motion, but I noticed the chief's head is shaking yes, in the affirmative. That, keep it on the 29th. No, I'm teasing. Jeremy, not to put you on the spot, no pressure or anything, but would you be okay with the Tuesday?
I'm fine with Tuesday, yeah.
Janine, what are your thoughts on
What
this?
kind of precedence this sets?
Are you saying
Are
yes?
qualified as changing the meeting.
No, good point. Good point. What next? Right? Where does it stop?
This is Bronco football, okay? All right?
Bronco country.
Have you seen the
This
sunsets
was
around
Texas,
here?
this would be an automatic.
Yeah, you're right, yeah, don't even be up for discussion.
Who would even have this conversation?
Jimmy, do I even need to ask?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
I don't care. That means I just have to watch football on Monday night.
All right, all right.
You have to.
Lisa,
I'm
you're.
fine with that.
Oh,
I'll hide in
really?
another
Okay.
room or he.
I don't care about.
Hours.
Scott?
Anyway, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Looks like, the consensus is we're gonna go with the, September 30th.
Please send a reminder though, Andy.
Yes.
We'll show up on
Oh,
Monday.
yeah.
It is the fifth Monday, so
Okay.
normally wouldn't necessarily have a meeting, so. but-
You please send a reminder.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, and, anything further?
No, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Wait, I do have a question
Oh,
for
yeah.
Andy, because I was looking at your report. Andy, what furniture are we looking for?
It was brought to our attention by the town of Parker that they're getting, they have a bunch of surplus furniture that's in really good shape. And they were offering it to municipalities first at no cost. So,
Did we
for
find some?
instance, they have tables that, flip up, like for study session. That would be a lot easier to manage than these folding tables that we have now.
That's
And
awesome.
it'd be good for training sessions and things like that. So, Guy and I went down to take a look at it because we were the first ones to raise our hand. And so we picked out some items, including chairs that are really in good shape. So it seemed like it just made a lot of sense to acquire some of this. We didn't take it all. There'll be some other municipalities taking some of the other furniture, but there'll be a number of chairs and tables that we will be picking up in another 10 days or so.
Excellent.
So that'll help us with our
How you guys getting
situation
them up
here.
here?
A truck, we're gonna rent a truck.
Okay.
I think that the easiest.
with Subaru.
I mean, we have a trailer that you could.
I think, just given, the number of items and size, I think we're just gonna do a big U-Haul.
Okay.
And just get it in there. It might be more than we need, but I think we'd rather just make one trip.
And it's covered too, yeah.
It's covered, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's covered, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could take up pickups, but then
Yeah.
it would rain.
No, I mean,
So-
trailer, like a large, yeah.
All right, anything further, Andy?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Next up,
That's what Halara does. They take clothes and they
Sorry.
make them comfortable and easy to wear.
TikToker,
I know, it was, so you knew what it was.
I could see it.
No, you know what Halara clothing is.
So,
I know.
ease up, Lisa, over there, all right?
Are you saying Jimmy's a cross dresser?
Hey, now.
What am I picking up on?
Well, I
Okay,
don't.
you
it's-
too.
Experimental.
Okay.
It's a rough crowd.
The two of you.
All right,
Yeah, what's happening?
I'm trying to get us back on the rails, guys. I'd appreciate a little assist here. Next up, you have one request for action, and that is from the Zambelli folks. And I did notice that the increase was only about $800.
3 or 4%.
Okay, and I noticed that the escalation tends to be about 5% a year, roughly. And that's about the same escalation as we had on the first contract years ago.
The only caveat being what they put in for tariffs.
I did see that, you bet.
And then I asked for them to put in an option for a separate show in case at some point in time.
Yeah,
The city decided that they want to do something that wasn't just 4th of July, so.
I did notice
Whatever may be.
that was a pretty heavy discount, about 50, I think it was at 15,000, so, yeah. All right,
And I think you'd look great in something mesh kind of high up on the hip.
yeah, no, I've told him that several times.
I'm always up, surprised everybody, so.
All right.
Don't take it, guy.
And, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve Zambelli fireworks proposal for 2026 to 2030.
Thank you, Jeremy, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Scott. First and second, any discussion?
I will say, I'm glad to hear from the businesses that this is what they like. I'm with Kate in that I wish that we were moving in another direction, but I asked Jeremy, like, are you worried about things burning down? Because that's one of my concerns. And he said, no. So I do think we have to be, like, during this time, even though we're approving this contract, I think that we have to be realistic about, do we move in a different direction? Like, do we do laser shows or, you know, something else like that? Like, I don't think that us just hoping for the best and going along with it is the best decision.
Well, Lisa, I agree with you. I actually put a lot of weight in what Jeremy says, just because outside of council, he is our assistant fire chief. And if he feels that they have it well at hand, then I'm confident.
I mean, I'm not impugning your department at all, like, just, you know.
It's not that. If you look at big picture wise, we have fire restrictions for a reason. We've canceled fireworks several times in the last 20 years due to fire conditions, right? It's a risk is up there's no fireworks, and that's part of that. So there's a lot of things that go into that decision, even right up until they fire the first shell every year with inspections and other stuff, so. Do I think there's safer alternatives? Possibly. We've tried a few in the past and had some failures because of the topography where we're at. Yeah, the laser show didn't go, those that were still live here.
That was a while
The weather
ago,
came
though.
in, it was terrible.
Yep.
So I think exploring other options is probably in our future. But at least just for the next, 5 years, it gives us some time to figure what that is and things could develop, right? We could build houses up there that we're not shooting fireworks.
No, yeah.
So all this stuff could still change in the future. That changes what we're deciding today.
And so my 2 cents is this, is that my insurance company does not care what anybody in town says or wants. When they are talking to me and other residents about whether or not they're gonna drop insurance because of fire, they don't care whether we have fireworks or whether we don't. So to me, to add another layer to that already big concern that my insurance, and me, this is me personally speaking, as me and residents that expressed to me they're concerned about having fires, allowing fires, or having fireworks. We should have been looking at this a long time ago and changing our path, is my point of view.
All right, any further discussion?
I think just also like you have to, like, it's distressing for pets and for people, veterans, and like just the noises. I think that's just another consideration as well that to consider. And I saw an amazing drone proposal the other day. Somebody got all the drones to do this crazy, will you marry me thing in the sky. So yeah, technology is developing. So I think other options.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All
The
right,
fire restrictions are still in place. If it's too dry, you shut them down, right?
Yeah, they can't shoot if the conditions are too dry, they can't shoot. There's a bunch of things that go into place.
and you'll notice in the contract, there is a penalty. The closer you get to 4th of July and the more they've mobilized, the more it costs you, but I'm thankful that we have a fire authority that looks at that, and if, like Jeremy said, if they have to be canceled, then they're canceled. We've done it several times in the past. So that should be the prevailing, overarching theme here is we'll do it if it's safe.
Mayor might add, in the agreement, is the provision that if the fireworks on Fourth of July do need to be postponed because of, fire concerns, the date is, rescheduled for the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Right. Right. That's, no, that's a good point. We had that in the last contract.
We done it before too.
Anything further? Roll call, please.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Lisa Manifold,
Yes.
Jim Clark.
Yes.
Dick Collier,
No.
Janine Mariani,
Yes.
Mayor Potem Jeremy Jones.
Yes.
Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Yes. All right, we will move to, I'm sorry, Guy, did you have anything further to share?
I do not.
Okay, all right, thank you. Dylan, wanted to check in with you, see if you have anything to share with us tonight?
Nothing for me tonight.
All right. And Wonder, we have your report. Thank you. Very informative. And I saw we are still up about 2.79 sales tax for the year, which is roughly about where we're at with the officially recognized inflation rate. And I want you to know some interesting information. We've heard from our friends in Georgetown, things are down about 15%. And it gets worse the further west you go. And there's a reason for that. And Andy shared this a few days ago. Our I-70 traffic hasn't been this low since 2015. So it's down about 9.5%. So when we talk about folks avoiding the I-70 corridor, they are, absolutely are. So I bring this up because the difference, and I'm just saying in our take from sales tax, being down 15% versus being up 2.79, the difference in that spread is about $800,000. So it's very significant. That's just our take from sales tax. So it's huge. Thank goodness we're bucking the trend. And I think you're going to see a lot of the business and community promotion groups work coming to bear fruit. Really, we didn't need much help in our busy summer season, but just now the kids are back in school and things get down to a dull roar, we can use their help in the slower times. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of their marketing effort coming to bear to make sure that we don't slip into that kind of a downward cycle or down 9.5% to 15% kind of a thing. And Wonder, thank you for sharing those figures with us. Also couldn't help but notice that you pointed out the difference in business here at City Hall on Fridays. As you had alerted us, that's the slowest day. And also, there was something new in your report about the breakdown in the phone calls.
Yeah,
Really, you and Maria get the lion's share.
it's the front.
Yeah,
Yeah, we sit at the front, that's why.
right.
Yeah, our phone system allows for lots of different fun, colorful little graphs and breakdowns. I just discovered it, actually, that's why.
Well, that was a very interesting discovery. And I wanted to see if you had anything else to share with us tonight.
No more, thanks. I do
Would
not.
you help me out? I hate to put you on the spot. We've got another block party.
Okay.
And is it the 16th?
I'm actually not aware of.
Well, we'll look because I know we had it up for like the 3rd or something like that, and that we had changed the date on it. So please check the
Are we doing,
website.
It's Friday the 16th, I believe.
Yeah,
the block- the block
the
party?
16th sounds familiar to me.
Are we also putting up the community planning
Friday.
tent like we had the last block party?
Andy, do you happen to know or
Last
Guy?
question, I'm sorry.
Are we also putting up like the community, the downtown, renovation and community planning? Are
And
we
actually,
putting that up
Dylan
again?
might know that.
I don't think that the HDR folks are planning on coming.
And it's actually, it looks like it is actually Friday the 19th. That's what it says on Facebook, Friday the 19th.
That sounds right. I misspoke.
Oh, are you saying the 19th?
19th.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, because it'll be a Friday starting at 4 p.m.
4 to 7 was the last block party, so I think that sounds right for the rescheduled date.
Okay,
prior to
That's what it has
September
on
19th.
the Visit Idaho Springs.
all right.
Facebook.
I just wanted to make sure, because the date had changed, that we all have an opportunity to come. The last one was pretty good, I have to say. Next up, PD. Thank you, Chief, for your report. Never a dull moment.
Sure. We're happy that, we're fully staffed. We hired a certified officer today, so started today, and we'll have him come to a council meeting here in the next couple weeks or in a month. His dad is currently a police officer, has been an officer for 21 years. I'm not sure a bigger agency down in the metro, but so we're excited that he started and that we're staffed. If you haven't seen the fun video of us chasing the guy covered in mud from the hot springs, I recommend you look at that on YouTube. We did get a formal request from a nationally syndicated show, On Patrol Live, asked for the video.
That's awesome.
So that'll be out there.
You made Inside Edition.
And we made it inside.
Really?
Yes, on
Really?
Inside Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, we did, you guys recognize the person that with the mural. We did identify and are filing charges against an adult resident for the vandalism that happened on the mural.
It wasn't a
My-
kid, it was an adult.
And my understanding is the individual just came and forward and confessed?
Yeah, this person has some, I don't know, I'll just say some issues and, so,
All right, well,
yeah,
I'm glad that's been resolved.
yeah. Us too.
Oh, boy. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Next up, Public Works. Ed, how are things going for you?
Busy, but we're getting her done.
All right.
Potholing, service line inventory.
And you're doing the meter change outs, and, everything going good on, water, wastewater end too? All right.
If I may, I drove over the new Wall Street paving. You guys did a nice job with that.
They did.
They really did.
It was amazing they could, asphalt that steep hill.
Yeah,
It was.
those
It was.
folks up at 14th and 15th have got to be thrilled. Or between 14th and 15th, I should say.
We're gonna see what happens in the winter time.
Well,
I
yeah,
am worried
Whether
about
it's
that
going to
hill.
be
but-
slicker or it's gonna be better,
yeah,
because there's evidence in either way.
Yeah.
Whether or not dirt versus asphalt,
yeah.
so there'll be a whole new way to go out of control.
However, I did not bounce down the hill like I do, like when it was dirt, you would bounce down that hill.
Oh, you weren't driving fast enough.
Okay, stop it.
Well, Ed, yeah, I'm very thankful, that got done. Like I said, they have to be thrilled up there. Anything, further to share with us tonight?
No, thank you, Mayor.
All right. I want to thank everybody for their reports. Last up, we have, mayor and council. I don't have anything, but I'd like to go around and check with council, see if you have anything.
Not today. I do not.
Okay? No. All right. All right, since we don't have anything further, I will call.
Mayor?
Yes. Oh,
Where do you hit that gavel?
Of course.
Just a reminder, we do have our training excursion next Monday.
oh, yes.
We need to be, at Silver Plume Station at 5:30, or try to be there by 5:30. because
Silver
rain-
Plume Station.
Silver Plume Station, I
Important
keep
qualifier.
emphasizing that, yeah,
All
they do start at Silver Plume and go down. We'll have a short break at the bottom, then come back up. to
Okay.
Silver Plume. The train leaves, at 6 PM sharp. And, again, does include a light dinner at the bottom of the loop, and then we go back up. So, if you haven't RSVP'd for that, please do to Maria, so we can get a final count.
All right, thank you, Andy. And I also, before I hit the gavel, I do have one thing to share with everybody. At 5:15 on 9/11, we're gonna have a silent march. We've been doing that for years. It's gonna start right out in front of City Hall and will conclude down by the library. So if you have a chance to join us on the 11th, it should only take about 10 or 15 minutes. But we would like to remember those lost on 9/11, and we'll do so with the silent march at 5:15 out in front of City Hall.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, it is 5:15 p.m. And with that,
Andy, how many people are on the train? How many guests do you have?
I think we've had about 58 in RSVP.
Other dignitaries of Idaho Springs, other people of Idaho Springs?
We mainly focused on the members of the Idaho Springs boards and commissions.
Yeah.
But there were some other community leaders who were invited as well.